All right, this is a demo of Tetration doing east-west segmentation within a segment or across multiple segments. So let's go ahead and take a look at my setup in the Irvine lab here. I have a Tetration SaaS instance running in the Cisco cloud, or we call it dCloud. And the dCloud instance is reaching out to my Irvine lab across two segments. The first segment is 10.2.2, and within that segment there's jump clients, jump PCs, and there's also a PCI server as well as a non-PCI server. And my goal is to stop traffic between PCI and non-PCI. I'll show you how that is easily done. Then at the same time, the clients should be able to talk to the segment on the right-hand side, which is 10.3.30 segment. And within the 10.3.3 segment, there is a Linux server, database server, as well as a web server, right? And these web server or these servers should not be communicating to each other by policy. Just as an example, that's what I've set here. But the client on the left-hand side can talk to the web, but cannot talk to the Linux database. Okay. So let's go ahead and go into my Tetration instance and take a look at the zones that I have created in the setup here. So instead of tracking devices by IP addresses or other layer 3 attributes, I'm simply leveraging the zones. I have these devices in the tag in a specific zone. So there's a jump PC zone, there's a Linux zone, PCI and non-PCI, and web zone. And if I look at the PCI server and drill into the IP address, into the host, I can see that right now there's an allow all policy, allow any being passed through, meaning that there's a personal firewall enforced but no blocking rules in place. Now let's go into my overall policy into this data center here, and I have created a rule or a set of rules to deny traffic going from like Linux to certain jump host, or the Linux database talking to web, that should be blocked, and web should not be talking to Linux, or PCI cannot be talking to non-PCI devices, right? These are all deny rules. And within this example deny rule, you can see here that I have some services. I'm going to go ahead and edit or delete this TCP any and simply add in an ICMP to block. I want to stop the communication between web and Linux server as an example. That's how easy it is to edit the rule here. And now same thing for the rest of the rules. I can look at them to see what's been configured. And for this rule, PCI, non-PCI, I'm blocking SSH as well as ICMP for this simple demo here. And then at the end of all this is a catch-all, right? Because if it doesn't match any of the denies, it'll just kind of go through and let it go. Okay, so now for me to enforce this, I simply go into enforcement and click on the enforce policies button, fill in some information, hit accept and enforce, and done. That's it. Policy enforced. And now the Tetration instance is reaching out to all the endpoints, and based on the policy that we just saw, it'll get pushed down to the right clients on what should be enforced and what should not be enforced. So here, as in an intra-subnet for PCI to non-PCI, you can see that the PCI server and non-PCI, everything's wide open right now. They're all working, and then within a matter of less than 60 seconds or so, you'll see some pings, like you see here right now. The pings on the left-hand side for PCI to non-PCI has been stopped, right? Because the firewall kicked into effect. And then same thing on the right-hand side. I have Linux database talking to the client. So if I go ahead and start the ping there, by policy, again, I want to stop that. So you can see that the pings, I'm getting operation not permitted now. And same thing on the bottom for Linux talking to the database server, that should not be happening. And same thing, pings are not getting through. So firewall policies are being enforced correctly. And then if I drill into the PCI server itself, my Windows server, you can see I go into the firewall section and I can see the inbound and outbound rules section. And if I drill into outbound rules, as a matter of fact, there you'll see some rules marked as by Tetration. It says Tetration golden rule and self rule. These are the rules for block or deny being pushed by Tetration into the personal firewall of these devices. So that's how it works. Okay. Now, everything's working by policy. If I decide that, oh, wait a minute, I made a mistake, I need to undo this, simply click on the stop enforcement button, type in a reason, and done. This is policy enforcement is disabled. Again, now it just takes anywhere between 60 seconds, sometimes faster or sometimes a little longer, depending on the number of workloads it's managing. But now you can see that the pings are all starting to resume now because I've removed the block policy. So everything, all the firewalls now have allow all any rules again, right? So it's wide open. That's how easy it is to do east-west segmentation. Hopefully you enjoy this demo. Thanks for watching.